Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on in a first grade classroom? I mean, when a teacher is explaining something that seems as simple as a fraction, they're not just teaching math. No, they're actually using these powerful psychological theories that literally shape how young minds learn. So let's pull back the curtain and unpack the hidden science of the classroom. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a simple, universal challenge that every teacher faces. Then we'll dive into 3 totally different ways to tackle it. You've got the classic drill method, the mind as a computer model, and the more modern hands-on discovery approach. And then, for the grand finale, we'll see how the best teachers out there combine all of these into one super powerful toolkit. All right, let's kick things off with our mission, should you choose to accept it. We've got to teach a young kid a concept that's, both really simple on the surface, but also surprisingly abstract when you dig into it. Okay, look at this. The fraction 1/2. Seems easy, right? But seriously, pause for a second and think about it. How would you actually explain what this means to a 7-year-old who's never seen it before? It's trickier than you think. And believe it or not, your answer says a whole lot about how you think learning works. So let's see how the pros handle it. First up, we've got an approach that's probably the most traditional, the one you might remember from your own school days. It's called behaviorism, and its whole deal is focusing on what we can actually see and measure, a student's actions, and, of course, their responses. The core idea here is really straightforward. Behaviorism sees learning as basically building good habits. You do something, you get a reaction. If that reaction is positive, say a reward, then you're much more likely to do it again. It's all about learning through direct instruction and, you guessed it, positive reinforcement. And here's what that looks like in the classroom. It's a clean, efficient loop. The teacher shows the flashcard, that's the stimulus. The student says 1/2 and points to it, that's the response. And then they get a sticker, that's the reinforcement. The goal here is to make recognizing 1/2 an automatic, totally correct behavior. Simple and effective. Okay, but what's actually going on inside the kid's head during all this? That's the exact question that leads us to our second approach. Let's shift gears and check out the cognitivist method. So cognitivism decided to crack open what they called the black box of the mind. It says, hey, learning isn't just about behavior. It's about how we process information. The idea is to think of the brain like a computer. It has inputs, it has storage, like a hard drive, and it has outputs. And the teacher's job? Well, it's to help organize all that incoming data as efficiently as possible. And you can see right away how different a cognitivist lesson feels. You don't just start with a flashcard. No, you start by connecting it to something the child already gets. Like, hey, remember how you share a pizza with your friend? Then you give them a visual model, a clear rule to follow, top number is the part, bottom is the whole, and finally, you let them apply that rule to new things. It's all about building a solid mental framework, a schema for what 1/2 actually means. Now, this third approach, this one's a real game changer. It makes a pretty bold argument that students aren't just little computers you can program, they're actually builders, and they need to construct their own knowledge from the ground up. So, get this. In the constructivist view, knowledge isn't just poured from a teacher's brain into a student's. Nope. Instead, the student actively creates their own understanding by getting their hands dirty and interacting with the world. The learner becomes the star of the show, and the teacher, they're more like the friendly guide on the side. Just look at how this plays out. The teacher doesn't just give the answer. They start with a real-world problem, like sharing a cookie. Then they give the kids tools, blocks, paper, maybe even clay. The students then explore and mess around and collaborate to find a solution. And only after they've had that aha moment of discovery does the teacher step in to give it a formal name, 1/2. See the flip? The understanding comes first, the label comes second. So we've seen 3 very different philosophies, the driller, the organizer, and the guide. So which one is the best one? Well, that's completely the wrong question to ask. The real magic happens when you bring them all together. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. A truly great teacher doesn't pledge allegiance to one single philosophy. Instead, they have this amazing toolkit, just filled with different strategies, and they know exactly which tool to pull out for the right student at just the right moment. Now, this table, I love this because it lays out the differences so clearly. Under behaviorism, the teacher is the instructor, and the student is basically a passive receiver doing drills. Jump to cognitivism, and the teacher is an organizer, helping the student process information. And then with constructivism, the teacher becomes a facilitator, and the student is an active creator exploring ideas. Each role and each activity has its perfect time and place. And that, right there, is the big takeaway. A truly fantastic math lesson might actually start with a constructivist activity. Let's share this cookie. Then it could shift into a cognitivist mode to explain the rules and the symbols. And you know what? It might even end with some good old-fashioned behaviorist drills just to build up that speed and accuracy. It's not about picking a side. It's about blending them all together seamlessly. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think back to your own school days. How did you learn math? Was it flashcards and stickers? Was it diagrams and rules? Or were you encouraged to figure things out for yourself? The answer says so much about how far education has come and how we're all still trying to perfect the incredible art of learning itself.